Hi everyone, this is Matt Richards of GetYourRockOut.co.uk. I'm currently here with Darren, the vocalist of Sacred Mother Tongue. How are you doing today?
I'm alright, man, yeah, a bit flustered because we're a bit late, but yeah, otherwise I'm good.
Good to hear. Right, tonight you're going to be playing the O2 Academy 3 in Birmingham in support of Revoker.
Yes.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, man, I mean, Revoker are a killer band. They're a good live show and, they got some good support, and obviously coming back to Birmingham, we haven't played here for a while now, so it's, looking forward to it.
Have you ever played the O2 Academy here before?
Not here, no. I'm not sure where we've played in Birmingham. We've played a couple of places, but not for a few years now. I don't know why. Seem to have missed it out of our schedule for some reason.
You said a second ago you came down from Dundee 2 nights ago. How was the opening night?
It was great, yeah. It was a funny night because, the lads were on the road 12 hours to get there in the van. It was a proper slow going. It's a long, long way. I only did half of that because I'm in Newcastle, so they picked me up on the way. We got there after a long drive thinking, I hope this is going to be worth it, it's going to kick off the tour in the right manner, and as it turned out, it was really good, yeah, it was a good show. We had a lot of good response. We did some sign-ins and some photos and stuff, so you can always gauge how good the gig went by how much people want to interact with you afterwards. If they don't give a shit, then you think, okay, it was alright, but no one cared. But yeah, it was really good response.
Yeah. How do you normally warm up before a show?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I like to be on my own for a bit. I have a bit of a routine of getting in the zone. I don't really like people pulling me around and asking me stuff. Not like this, but I mean, when you're in the venue, like the lads are, oh, can you do this, can you do that? I like to take myself away for a bit, just 20 minutes or so. Have a fag.
Yeah.
I like a drink just to settle my nerves, just to coat the throat and that. And I've got a gay warm-up CD that is just scales and stuff that I tend to do if I've got the chance. I don't always get to do it, to be honest, but it's good to do it when you're on tour. It's one of them things that a lot of singers say, oh, I don't need that, but when you've got to sing every night, you should really warm up and warm down. So I tend to do a bit of that, and then I'm ready to rock.
Are there any things you won't do before a show? Like, I know some people who won't drink ice water because they think it ruins their throat. Or
I won't do. No, not really. I won't do shots or anything like that. If there's people trying to buy me drinks and stuff, I won't get wrecked. But otherwise, no, there's not much I won't do.
How do you have any cool down things afterwards?
Only music, really. Normally on the drive, I like a bit of country music.
Right.
I find it really calming, and the vocals in country is always quite sort of warm and soothing, and it's quite low key as well. They sing fairly low octaves, which are nice and smooth to sing along to, and they're good for your voice. And you do a lot of really low register stuff, which is again good for warming down. So I just hum along to a few tunes in the car or the van or whatever. I tend to find that does it. A nice cup of tea. No matter where we've been, and how hard the night's been, or how heavy it's been, or how mad or how drunk you've always got to have a cup of tea before bed.
Just ends it off nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just rounds it off, yeah.
And what do you find, what's the best thing for you about being on tour?
Visiting and playing shows to different people, different, believe it or not, the cultures even across the UK, they're different, they're different reactions from different types of culture, and it's always interesting seeing how well you go down in certain places and what the scene is doing at that time within that area. Some places you think, yeah, this will be good because it's a certain place, and you get there and you seem to find everyone is into grindcore or death metal or something. They don't really care for you. And other places, they're right up your street. They just really want the sort of music that we do. The sort of balls out rock metal, I suppose. So yeah, the best thing is about doing the shows. It's all about doing the shows. Travelling in the van is only so much fun. Eating at KFC is only so much fun.
Would you say those are things that you look forward to least about touring?
The worst thing about touring is being away for a length of time. Away from your home, having to sort of rough it, if you like. You're sleeping in different places all the time. Sometimes in the van, sometimes very little sleep. It's tiring. Your schedule's pretty tight. You finish your show, you're always having a good night, and then it's a late night, and then before you know it, you've got to be up and start moving and getting ready for the gig and that, and travelling, and that's the worst bit. Is all the the in between, the logistics of it all. Of that.
Right, okay. I just wanted to ask a few questions about. You've released an EP called The Light Shines in September.
Yeah.
And how's the response to it been so far?
Awesome. Yeah, it's been really, really good. I mean, the press have really well received it. They're all saying it's great and that, and we've had some really good reviews. The public seem to like it as well. It's we've had a lot of people saying it's our best stuff yet, and they can't wait for the album and all the rest of it. So the best response you can get is when you do a show and people are singing. They've learnt your words and they're into the songs. And our launch party was probably the first evidence we had of that, because the EP had only been out a few weeks, and we did a launch show at Islington, and it was the front row, every word, singing along and banging their fists in the air and all that. So and several other people throughout the venue, but yeah, it seems to be pretty well received. That's the reaction we want, so we're pleased with it.
Is it like a clear taster of what's to come with your next album? It's called Out of the Darkness.
Out of the Darkness, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's. I mean, a couple of the tracks from the EP will be on the album anyway. With a new mix to them and new mastering and that. But yeah, it's definitely a taster. I mean, we had the initial idea of releasing it as 2 EPs, which is where you get the whole light and dark thing from. Always with the intention of following the concept, which was based upon a few things really, but kind of like finding a new start and finding seeing the light and coming out of the darkness and that. A lot of the songs have been written from that point of view. They're either a personal take on things about life and sort of depression and all the rest of it, or they're they're about the way the world is and how things may be dark or may seem dark, but somewhere you find that way out. And so I kind of followed that thesis with the titles for the album and the EP.
Do you write a lot of the lyrics?
Yeah, I write all the lyrics. Yeah, every word really. I mean, I get the odd bit of help from my producer who sort of says, change that word there, it sounds shit or whatever, but generally I come up with a concept which is based on the mood the song gives me. When Andy's written a song, we get together and we do some edits, and I take a few bits out and I add a riff here and a riff there, and I say make that double the length and make that half the length or whatever. Once it turns into a song, a finished product, then I sort of feed off of that and see what emotion it gives me and how it makes me feel, and then I decide whether I want to write a song about this, that or the other. It takes me down a certain direction. But yeah, I nurture the vocals, the lyrics up until the point I lay them on the recording, and even then I'm changing them last minute because I'm never happy.
Do you enjoy the recording process?
I do, yeah, I love it, yeah. Yeah, it's really hard work, and it can be really, really boring, because there's nothing worse than singing the same line over and over again in the vocal booth with very little input from the producer, who's just sitting there waiting for you to do the take. And quite a lot of the time you don't really know what it is he's after. He's looking for a certain tone or a certain pronunciation on the word or certain conviction or whatever. And if you're stabbing in the dark, it feels like forever, and it really does your head in. But when you've nailed it, you listen back and you can see it building from the ground up, and you hear the song taking shape, and it's a really exciting process.
I suppose it's all worth it when you get the final take.
Exactly, yeah. Like I say, once you've nailed that take, once you've got what it is he's looking for, and you can hear it back, you can say, yeah, he's right. That's what it needed. You can hear the song taking shape from the ground up, and it turns into something that, in your head, the vision is like quite clear, and you're like, I know this is good. I know I'm happy with this. I know this is going to work well. But until you hear it building and you can play it back from start to finish, you can hear how good it's got, and you sort of have a sigh of relief of like, yeah, I thought I was right, I thought I was going to dig this and this was going to be good, but you're never quite sure until it's laid down. Sometimes I go in the studio and I've never even sung the song. I've just hummed it in the car, because we just haven't had a chance to jam it together and that. The lads have to leave a lot of it down to trust with me that I'm going to come up with the goods and it's going to sound good.
How long did it take to record A Light Shines? So I know it's 3 songs, studio recorded, and then a live one from China.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, we were going to do 2 EPs, so it was going to be 5 tracks each. So we already had 5 tracks recorded, ready for A Light Shines. So then there was a change of plan, and we decided, okay, we'll hold back, we'll do a live track and add the other tracks to the album when it comes out, and that's what we did. So much as it seemed like it took us quite a while, it actually didn't. It took us the time it took to record, which is probably, I don't know, a month or something over the course of, different days on different weeks. But then it seemed to sit there for ages. It took us a good while to get the mix where we wanted it, from our producer, Scott Atkins. Emails backwards and forwards. Is this what you're looking for the bass, and is that what you want? And it took a good few mixes before we changed the sound of the old album enough into the new sound to what we wanted. But other than that, the recording process was quite quick. It always is fairly speedy with Scott. It's just the background stuff that seems to take the time. And then, of course, even once the label have got it in their hands, they take forever to put it out because they're strategically planning the release and stuff. So, much as it may seem like nothing's happened for ages, it has been. It's just, stuff gets in the way.
Have you got any tentative release dates for Out of the Darkness?
Yeah, potentially February, March. I mean, the album's actually, I say all but finished. Me and Andy are popping in on Thursday just to do some guitar solos. I think he's got a couple of solos that still need doing, but other than that, the it's all finished. The mix is 90% done already. There's a couple of things we need to retake on the guitar solo side of things, and there's a couple of solos that he needs to lay down from scratch that he hasn't done yet, but the vocals are all done, bass, drums, everything's there. So we should get masters to the record label within the next, week and a half, I think. And then once they've got it in their hand and they're happy with it and we're not making any changes, they can start the ball rolling with the press release and all the rest of it, and then they'll give us a date, I suppose. They don't normally give you a date until they've got a product and they can trust that you're going to come up with the goods, Because if you promise them a certain date and then they base everything on that date and then you fall through on the date, they're screwed. So I kind of get why they wait.
It's understandable.
Not only that, you could send them it and they say, actually lads, this is a pile of shit, you need to come up with something else.
I just wanted to ask a few questions about the China tour. So that must have been pretty special.
It was, yeah. It was unreal. It was a situation that we couldn't really believe how it had come up, because we're rising, but we're still a small time band, and opportunity to go to China and do a headline tour was pretty awesome. We were like flabbergasted, but Chinese promoter really wanted to get us out there, and we sorted the funding and the promotion out and that, and we just went and did it, and we're really, really glad we did, because it was a proper eye-opener to get that far afield and see how it went down. And as it turned out, it went down really well. And Andy's got quite a few fans over that side of the water anyway, because of his solo, his instrumental career and that.
He's with the Lick Library as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he does some work with Lick Library and Jam Track Central, but he's also released, a number of solo albums. His most recent one being his sort of rebirth, which was the self-titled Andy James album, and that's kind of shot him even further into the limelight. And yeah, it was surprising. We got to China and he had a really big following over there. We got a very little look in. Real small attention on us and a lot on Andy, which is, it's great. There's no point being bitter or anything, because it's deserved. He's a great player. He's a world-class guitar player, and I can see why they love him. And anything that he does that's good is going to carry the band with him. So,
what were the shows like there? Did the crowd take to you very well?
They did, yeah. It was astonishingly good. I mean, the first date that we did was a festival. Thousands of people. It was a weird lineup. They had all these Chinese bands on, none of which were very metal, and we just didn't know what to expect. And it being the first date of the tour, the pressure was on a bit. We were quite anxious. But we sort of, we kind of owned it, really. We stepped on stage and we did our thing, and it could have gone either way, but I think the reception it blew us away. It really, really blew us away. I mean, they were so welcoming, and they were so welcoming of a metal band. It seems like the industry's really small out there. There's a lot of censorship and there's a lot of issues in the music industry. They seemed very grateful to have a band from overseas that had taken the effort to go to China and play for them. So, they were really welcoming. It was great. All the shows were the same. Really, really good.
Have you got any horror stories from any of your past tours? Things that went like horribly wrong, or
yeah, we had one. There was one show. We were on tour, and there was one show where we got 90% of the way to Stoke-on-Trent. It had taken us absolutely hours because the sat nav had took us a weird route. And then Andy turns to me and he goes, "Where's my guitar?" And he'd left it at home. So we had to literally go all the way back. That was pretty bad. Because obviously that just ruined the whole night. We didn't get it till stupid o'clock, and it was a right rush around. I think one of the worst ones was we played a place in Nottingham years back, and it was one of these deals where we didn't have a fee. We were on a door percentage, and the guy that did it, he was obviously a bad promoter, or we were a bad band. I don't know which was which, but nobody came. It was very empty, and we made 70 pence. I mean, he'd done the paperwork and everything. He had a full breakdown. It was all spreadsheeted up and all this, and then he gave me his 70 pence for at the end of the night. That was our gig fee. So
you split it between you?
I don't think we did. No, I don't even think it helped towards diesel. I think it was a packet of Rizzler or something for our bass player.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best of luck with the gig and the rest of the tour.
Thanks very much. Nice to meet you. Cheers.